Hi, welcome to another episode of Quietly Marketing and going and keeping on with my content marketing and series. Today we're going to be talking about content marketing and the Google algorithm. Um, if you've seen my series before, you'll know that actually the very first time I ever did this series, I did the exact same thing. It was talking about content marketing and the Google algorithm. And I'm actually kind of reshooting it in this day and age where movies are doing a lot of reboots and trying to improve upon the original. I'm going to do that, mainly because the first time I shot this, the video quality was very poor. It was the first one I shot, and on top of it, it's one of my most passionate topics. So I wanted to give do another shot at it, and I'll probably actually remove my original video and just replace this one with it because I think it's one of the most important topics that I can talk about. So all right, let's get into it. Behold, the Google algorithm. If you're in digital marketing world, especially if you're in SEO, the Google algorithm comes up all the time. If you're like me, especially for the past 9-10 years, I'm constantly going on there, not just on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis, and we're always talking about what's the next algorithm update. What's it going to change? So essentially, what is the Google algorithm? It is a system, it is a bot that goes through and decides what is going to rank high in Google based on what you searched for. So if you search for something like Matt Damon signed autograph photo, which I know everybody would like to do, it's going to go through every single website and decide what is the most relevant information for that to move up to the top of Google. And this is really important. There's conferences dedicated to this. Whenever you go to any kind of digital marketing, especially SEO conferences, there's huge sections of just like what are the algorithms considering to be very, very important. So what rankings are considered important? What factors go into creating a strategy that you can employ on your website? It's simple. Here's all the factors that Google considers to be important when it comes to ranking algorithm, the ranking algorithm. And this is a periodic table of SEO success factors that's updated every 2 years by Danny Sullivan's team at Third Door Media. And just do a search for SEO periodic tables. Don't go through everything right now. Don't try and read this. The whole point is there's a lot of things that go into ranking. Mainly in the old days of Google marketing, sad to say I was actually a part of that, was mainly keyword relevancy and links coming back to your site, along with some technical things, were the most important thing for your website to rank. So although it wasn't simple to employ, it was kind of simple to see what was affecting it. If you had a certain keyword on your site more times, you would come up higher in a Google search result. If you had more trusted websites linking to you, you would rank higher in a website. Are these still a factor today? Absolutely. Are they the most important factor? No. And they're becoming less and less important, in my opinion. And the way that we even view these algorithms, especially myself, the way I view these algorithm updates and how important they are become much and less important to me. Back in 2013, all these updates have quirky names, by the way. Panda and Penguin updated, which had to do with the quality of links and the quality of content on your website. And these were a game changer. The quality, the Panda one had to do with how good the content was on your website, was now like the primary ranking factor for where you turned up in Google. And this was a game changer for me because it took out a lot of the technical aspects of what do I be looking at in order to rank? How can I kind of game the Google system? What can I do to cheat the system, such as having a keyword written over and over again in the background of a website that's the same color as the background of the website. So you can't see the keyword, but Google would still read that text and be like, man, that keyword's up there a lot. I better rank that high. The quality content changed everything. It was now about how relevant is this content, how useful is this content, how good is that quality of content. So, like I said, going back to, and that'll be something I'll get onto a little bit later here, and going on to these conferences that we'd always go to, there'd always be keynote speaks by Google, and Google would often put out reports and releases about, hey, this is what is an important ranking factor. What I quickly realized was that listening to Google was completely worthless. And with good reason. I essentially, whatever they said, they'd say, hey, this is now ranking factors like social media, engagement is no longer a ranking factor. It doesn't matter what your social presence is like. It's not a ranking factor. Eventually you realize just to ignore these, because Google was trying to not let you know exactly what was a ranking factor. And that's it for good reason. As soon as you knew exactly what was a ranking factor, you were going to have people who were going to try and game the system. So yeah, although I'd be looking at these and I'd be like, wow, they're just lying. I mean, I got to the point where I didn't want to go to the keynotes because it was just basically a Q&A with Google where they would dance around the question and not tell you what actually is a ranking factor. And I understand that. I wasn't angry. I just realized this is completely pointless. But then I thought of something else, and I started thinking, what if they weren't actually lying? What if Google themselves didn't know exactly what was a ranking factor? And this came to light when I referenced a study. This was all by Rand Fishkin of Moz. So kind of quoting his study here and what he did. He decided to see if click-through rate would affect rankings. Now, keep in mind, he did a study, he did something like this and actually had the results that showed that people who clicked on links and clicked through, the more clicks the website got, the higher it could actually go up in Google rankings. He did this by reaching out to his Twitter followers and said, hey everyone, type in the search and click on the number 3 result. Let's see if we can move it up to number 1. And although they had success, Google then said, hey, that's not gonna work. You can't have people just clicking through. That'd be something very easy to game. You just like pay a bunch of people to click through on your site if you came up number 3. So Google came out a few months later and said this is not, click-through rank is not a ranking factor. And actually referenced his study at a keynote I was in. But Rand Fishkin was a little more convinced that there's a little bit more here. So what he did was he actually got people to type in best grilled steak, but there's 2 parts to this. One, he had people click on the number 1 ranking. Same tactic, he got his Twitter followers and asked them to click on this, and these were the instructions. Type in best grilled steak, click on the number 1 result, but immediately click back to the search results. Now I want you to go back, now that you're on the search results, now go to the serious eats, the best grilled steaks down there, which was his personal favorite result for this one. And now not only click on that, now stay on the website, click through on the website, and whatever you do not go back to the Google search results. What happened here was that over a period of time, wasn't immediate, it actually went up to number 1. So what did this tell us? This started telling me that click-through rate might not be what's important here. What's important is engagement. And engagement in this case is you have the search, you click through, and you didn't go back to the search results, and you stayed on that website for a while. This is important because it's called like a long click versus a short click. So people not only found the content that they wanted, Google can tell that they found the information they wanted because they didn't click back to the search results. And therefore that must be a very relevant search, very relevant website for that search, and we should probably rank that higher. Because think about it, if you click on a site and immediately click back to the Google search results, that means it wasn't very relevant for you. It wasn't the information you wanted. And that's very, very important for Google. All right, so still to this day, they say this is not actually a ranking factor, and this is not what's important. But again, it all came to a head last year when I realized, yeah, absolutely, Google doesn't know what is ranking, and that's when RankBrain was announced. So it was announced last year. I'm sure it was employed well before that time when they officially announced it. But RankBrain was an artificial intelligence by Google that actually went through to determine relevant search results for users based on searches and keywords and what's the most relevant factor. Okay, so you start thinking, so this is an AI system now. It's now going to be in charge and going to be probably given more and more power over the time to decide what's an important ranking factor. And don't you think that that's going to be engagement and how long somebody spends on a click, and do they go back to the search results? Absolutely. How can it not be? Google's mission is to always, provide the right information to the right people at the right time, trying to get them in touch with their content, trying to make that bridge as small as possible. If they search for something, I want them to be able to complete their task as soon as possible. So this RankBrain is changing everything. Google's even gone on record saying it's the number 3 important ranking factor is RankBrain, behind quality content and links coming back to you. So, but I think it's actually even more powerful than that. So Google's not lying. They just simply don't know. This RankBrain is going to be in charge of what's going to be ranking high in Google, and that's going to be high quality content that engages people and keeps them on the website and doesn't go back to the search results. All right. So like I said, it's simple. This kind of cracked the algorithm for me. Although there's going to be algorithm changes, there's going to still be things that are important. It's actually gotten very simple, but at the same time, very, very complicated. Your goal now is to create an awesome experience on your website that first and foremost gets people to complete their tasks, but has them engage with their website. And by having quality content on there. So that's it. That's quite simple, right? That's easier said than done. There's a lot of research that goes into it. So where should people be focusing now? So there's still things that appeal to, the search engine, keyword quality and uniqueness, crawlbot, snippet optimization, UX, multi-device. These are all technical SEO things that are never going away, but I think their impact is going to be much, much less. What's more important is the people factor. Okay, how long do people spend on your website? Again, this is taken directly from Rand Fishkin. How often do they come back to your website? Have they been there? How long did they spend in your thing? Did they complete the task that they were looking for? That task might either be just finding an answer to a question, or it might be buying, it might be signing up for something. How long did they do that? So how does this apply to content marketing? Content marketing is all about getting the right content to the right people at the right time. It's creating an experience for people through content that makes them engage with your brand and by giving them useful information. If you can employ content marketing, if you can employ great content, and that's your core strategy, the SEO side of things now is catching up to that. And it's actually rewarding websites that create that awesome content, that awesome experience. And as RankBrain gets smarter and smarter and smarter, I think it's going to put more of an emphasis on this. So it relates to content marketing because I think soon SEO and content strategy have gotten so intertwined. Now I think it's one and the same. Your focus should be on creating awesome quality content. Read as much as you can about, content marketing. And I think that's actually going to make you better at SEO. Just like people who are currently into SEO need to get better at content marketing. It's all going to be one thing. So thank you. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And I will see you again next week.